Hey, what's up? My name is Ange. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing the end of year book tag. I did this last year. I don't think that the questions are the same. I honestly cannot remember, but all these questions are from Larry. So the blank questions are down below as well as a link to her video. So if you don't know her, you need to go follow her immediately because she is incredible. So all of these questions are from her, and now let's get into it. Coffee of the day is a sugar cookie almond milk latte with sugar cookie cold foam inside of my Java sock. We are starting off strong with what is my most disappointing book of the year, and I have to say that it was Pucking Around, and that was probably my own doing because I didn't understand what I was truly getting myself into. I knew that it was a Why Choose Romance, but I don't know if I knew truly what a Why Choose Romance was. I don't even think that was what my biggest problem with that book was. It was just the fact that it could have been done so much differently. For me, at least, I think that if you're gonna be with everybody, it just didn't have a plot anymore. That main plot that we had at the very beginning just kind of got completely lost for me. Anyway, I know a lot of people love it, but I just couldn't love it. So for me, that was the most disappointing book of the year. I'm so sorry. We're getting all strong. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one was what was an underdog book. I don't see too much about Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Cincotti, I think is how you say her name. We read this as our February book club read last year, and it was adorable. I think that it deserves a lot more hype. I want it to blow up on Book Talk more than it has, because it was one of the least popular books that I've ever read, and not because it was bad, but because a lot of people don't know about it, and I thought that it was adorable. So I feel if you haven't read that, you should go read that. The next question is what was an overhyped book that I read? And that was probably Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I rated it 2.5. I just didn't feel the chemistry, and it felt very jumbled to me. This was part of the Maple Hill series, so the first book is Icebreaker, then it's Wildfire, and then I think the third one is Daydream that recently came out. I just felt there was not really a plot. A lot of people loved it. I liked Icebreaker. I don't think I loved it. At least now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't love it. Haven't read Daydream yet, but Wildfire just felt there was no chemistry between the characters. It felt there was so much going on. Unfortunately, it just wasn't my favorite. A book that surprised me, I took this in a different direction because I wasn't really surprised by any of the books that I ended up loving, but I was surprised by something that I ended up not liking, and that was Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, because I had read Hook, Line, and Sinker and then whatever the other one is that I can't remember by her, and I loved them. So when I read Secretly Yours, I was why am I not loving this? But that was a big surprise for me because of how much I had loved the other books that I have read by that author. So I didn't love it as much, and I was really hoping for more. So it was very surprising when I was I don't love this. The next question is my favorite main characters of the year. So at the time that I filled out these questions, I have read a few more books, but I still don't think that they have fallen into the category of favorite characters. So starting off from the Throne of Glass series, we have Selena Sarduthian, wink wink, not gonna say something else, Kale Westfall, and Dorian Havillard, that guy. So we have Selena, Kale, and Dorian from Throne of Glass. We have Shannon, Johnny, and Gibbsy from Binding and Keeping 13. We have Joey and Aoife, I believe is how you say it, from Saving and Redeeming 6. And then we also have Max Malfaro, Jane, and Thatcher from Like Us. So far, those are really the only ones that we've really gotten into so far. So I am loving them. I feel I've liked other characters. I liked Peyton. I liked Kai from Reckless. There are other characters that I liked, but my initial thoughts is what I put down. I didn't want to think too far into it. If they didn't jump into my head, then they didn't get put down on this thing. So those are definitely some of my favorite characters of the year. Next one is a new favorite author that I discovered this year, and that has to be Chloe Walsh. She wrote the Boys of Tobin series. I am going to be reading Taming 7 very soon, but I read Binding and Keeping 13 and Saving and Redeeming 6. Amazing books. Absolutely love them. So probably a brand new favorite author of this year. An author that didn't work out for me this year was probably Emily Rath from Pucking Around. All the other ones, I liked them well enough, but that was my least favorite book of the year. So I'm sorry, just wasn't for me. The happiest book that I read this year had to have been Picking Daisies on Sundays, like I said before with that most, I believe the question was an underdog book. Definitely was like overall the happiest. I was like looking through Goodreads on all of the books I've read and I'm like, there is some stuff that happens in these books. So overall, I think that the happiest has to be Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Cincotti, but if not that one, I can't really come up with one for that. The saddest book that I read this year has to be If He Had Been With Me and If Only I Told Her. I could not choose just one of those, but they were both very, very, very sad. I still think about those books to this day. But honorable mention also to The Binding and Keeping 13, Saving and Redeeming 6. I wouldn't necessarily label them as like sad books, but they definitely tugged on the heartstrings and had topics that hurt, but there was still a lot of like good in them, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees with me, but I wouldn't label them necessarily as sad books. The next question is the most frustrating book that I read this year. They had to have been, and I know that I just talked about them being sad books, but the most frustrating books had to have been If He Had Been With Me and If Only I Told Her, because they were just like, they were so close. And I feel like it was sad how close that they were before they like couldn't get it anymore. I don't know how to explain that without ruining it. I feel like everybody knows what those books are about, but if not, I don't want to spoil it. It was just so frustrating that they didn't get what they wanted when they were that close. So I think about those books probably like at least a couple of times a week. I love them, like absolutely love them, even though they hurt me so bad. The best book adaptation of the year for me had to have been The Idea of You. And honestly, I love the movie way more than I love the book. So I watched the movie first and then I read the book in one day. I actually did put out a video like that this year, and the book just didn't do it for me. I don't know what it was, but I felt like the movie was honestly a lot better. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion. Don't come for me, but like I thought that it was great. So makes me honestly want to go watch it now, but we'll see. That's really the only one that I can think of that I thought was like the best one, because I loved that movie. My favorite covers of the year, I have quite a few for this. I have The Brothers Hawthorne, Legendary, Finale, One Italian Summer, Powerless, Damaged Like Us, Lovers Like Us, Alphas Like Us, and Tangled Like Us. So for the Like Us series, how I put all four of them, those are four that I have read so far. I just loved the cartoony-ish covers for them, although I'm not really a huge fan of that with other ones. For some reason, these ones just really did it for me. The Brothers Hawthorne, just like how much is going on, I feel like they're so like perfect. I don't know what it is. Legendary and Finale, they're just beautiful covers. Same with One Italian Summer and Powerless, like they're just good. Like they just like catch my eye and want me to know what's inside of them. A book that I haven't stopped thinking about is Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. Like what? It's just so good. I don't even know what to say about it. If you haven't read that book, go read it, because I held off reading that book for so long. I had it on my TBR cart for like ever, and then I was just like, you know what? Pick that book up. It's gonna be amazing, and I did. And look at what happened. So, moral of the story: don't wait on them. An unpopular book that I loved. This book, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was unpopular, but I personally don't hear much of it, and I thought that it was really cute. And that was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. That is that book that was like the Groundhog Day until like I guess they got it right, so it just kept happening. I feel like it's not a very popular book, and not by any means of like it's not good or anything. It's just that I don't hear much of it. I feel like not a lot of people are reading it, or at least not a lot of people that I watch or on like BookTube or Book Talk. So I feel like it's unpopular in that way. A book that I thought I'd love that I didn't, just like I said before, was definitely The Idea of You. Because I love the movie so much, I was like, okay, if the movie is this good, then the book has to be really good. But something about the book, like it just felt a lot different for me. In the movie, I felt like I saw their love a lot more, and in the book, it was purely physical, I think, for the female main character. So I didn't love that, and I felt like it really turned me off from the book. So the movie was just a lot better. I was very, very shocked at how much I like didn't love that book at all. The next question is a book with the most unique concept you read this year. Honestly, it has to be Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows with typewriters. I thought that was so interesting. I feel like I haven't seen that anywhere, but also The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Like we read that for a book club read, I believe it was October. Like what? That was amazing. That was like a great concept. I was honestly very scared of reading the Addie LaRue book, but I'm so happy that I did. I thought that concept was really good, but the magic typewriters I felt like is more unique than that one. Not that that one's not as interesting or whatever, but the magic typewriters was something that I hadn't seen before. So I thought it was really good. A book that I read this year that I would reread would have to be Legendary and Finale. I'm not putting Caraval in there because I technically did not read that in 2023, but that one as well. I thought that those were just amazing. I just recently finished Spectacular, but like the Christmassy novella. And also I would reread the Throne of Glass books. I think that they are just so good. And honestly, I wish I was reading them quicker because I feel like I'm forgetting a lot, or at least reading them close together. So I think I would reread them and reread them like one after the other. Next is a Goodreads 2024 reading goal reflection and a reading goal for 2025. The reflection for 2024 is I surpassed my reading goal, and I read a decent amount each month. So my reading goal was 80 books. I think I'm currently at 86 books for the year. I probably will only finish out the one book that I am in the middle of reading before the end of the year. And then my reading goal for 2025 is to finish a lot of the series that I have, like I'm in the middle of, also to read a lot of the physical books that I have on my TBR. And an actual book number for 2025 I think is going to be like 90 or 100 books, because it's definitely 100 books is definitely doable. 90 is more like realistic, but I feel like I want to push myself to that 100 because I'm reading 86 and that's me like just kind of trailing around some of these months. So I feel like I'm gonna go for 100, but we'll see. I might like settle on like 95, but I don't know yet. Book that I wish that I got to this year was definitely the tandem read, as well as the last book in the Throne of Glass series. So the tandem read is Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, and the last book is Kingdom of Ash. I wish that I had read those books a little bit faster and had pushed to finish that series this year. However, I did not. So that is like high priority in 2025, is to read that tandem read and then to finish out that series. So let's hope that I can do that this year. The very last question is, what will I prioritize in my 2025 reading year? Same with my 2025 goals. It's my physical TBR, because I literally need to be put on a book buying ban for like at least a year. I have so many books on my TBR. My physical TBR, I need to do like another TBR tour. I think I only did that like maybe a month or two ago. I could be wrong on that, but I just have so many books, especially from Christmas. I got the entire Zodiac Academy series, so I need to be put on a book buying ban forever. It doesn't help that I got Barnes & Noble gift cards, but shh. So we need to prioritize my physical TBR and also finishing the series that I am in the middle of. I feel like it was quick, just like telling you just about the books that I read and answering those questions. I didn't really want to get into what each book was about, and just kind of answer the questions, have a chill, like let's sit down for a couple of minutes and talk about everything. So that ends this 2024 year of reading, which is insane. I feel like I was just filming my 2023 book tag, so that's really interesting and scary all at the same time. So I am really excited for what books I am going to read in 2025, all the videos I'm going to make, like TikToks I'm going to make, like all that kind of thing, but also like what kind of reading year it is going to be for me. So I guess we will see. That brings this video to an end. So I think that this finishes out this is going to be my last video for 2024. So that's really interesting. Kind of scary, but interesting. So I will see you all in the new year. That's scary to say. So I'll see you all next time. Bye!